Good morning, everyone. Welcome
Good morning.
Welcome to Poison Fitness Talk with Geek Strong and Dandy1981. And we have a special guest today. But instead of me announcing our special guest, I have a very special intro for you, Mr. Cap Cave. So,
Lord,
let's do this. Here we go.
Hey everyone, hurry up! The show's about to start!
Once again, I am
Dean
Hans. I'm Franz,
Dans.
and we are here to pop you up.
And introducing today's special guest, Cap Cave!
By the way, why are we wearing bras on our heads?
Ceremonial.
You ready?
Yeah. Let's go.
She's alive! Alive!
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first? Oh, sorry about that. A little too early in the morning for that, right?
yes, very much so.
My eyes were popping out of my head and Josh was puking, right? Just to...
Yeah.
I think it was
like
puke.
It's like a SpongeBob moment.
I'm a little upset with the continuity here because on the thumb, I was Kelly LeBrock, and Kelly LeBrock ain't got shit on me. So, what up? You switched it up, and all of a sudden you get the good-looking body?
I figured you were the creator.
Mad
because
scientist.
today's topic is going to be 3D printing. And Josh, in my opinion, is one of the masters in 3D printing on YouTube. And if anybody doesn't know, this is Cap Cave Josh, and he has an amazing YouTube channel called Cap Cave. And I have the link to his channel in my description. And I tell you, he is one of my favorite YouTubers, and I will put that on record. So please follow him and check out the link. But you can do all that after this stream.
Very kind of you to say, Dino. Thank you. Appreciate you, buddy.
And because Josh is such a horror fan, I figured I'd wear my Texas chainsaw, and it says, have fun with chainsaws.
Who doesn't have fun with chainsaws? Perhaps Leatherface's victims would have something contrary to say to that.
Have you seen the latest Texas Chainsaw movie? On
I did not. On Netflix?
Netflix.
Yeah. It was actually pretty, I mean, it's not like, fantastic, but it's really gory. I was pretty surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard longtime fans of the franchise not give it a hard time, but they're like, we see what they're trying to do and we appreciate the effort. It wasn't like the greatest thing ever made, but at the same time, it was a very, very good
I
interpretation.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed the new Scream too. The new Scream was gory too.
So there's two positive horror movie remakes, redos, reboots, continuations, and then Halloween Kills happened as well, apparently.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Halloween Kills happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
you're not a fan of that one.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, you haven't? Oh,
I haven't. It just showed up
but
on HBO Max, I think.
It did. I was checking last night to see if there's any good movies out, and that appeared, and I'm like, nah, I'm not watching that again. So, good morning, everyone. welcome. This is Cap Cave here, and today we're going to talk about some fitness, some toy pickups, and some 3D printing. So before we do all that, let's scroll and say hello to people in the chat. And I do have
we
to
got a lot of
scroll up
people.
a bit. We have a good amount of people already. Everyone loves the cap, and it is early in the morning, so you want to let's start at the top here. We're going to start with the first person that showed up, which gets the award for the day, is Super Awesome Geek Show, and he has a fitness question, and we will tackle that in a bit. And let's scroll down here. There's many fake Batman in the world, but this guy, this is the real deal right here. Welcome, real Batman. Good to see you here.
Martha for me. Oh, you can't. I'm sorry. Too soon.
Oh, woo. Good morning, everyone. Dean in chat. And then we have Fabulous. Good morning, Fabulous.
Good morning. Good morning.
Here we go. Is this a new person in the chat?
Adelaide, good day from Australia.
Good day.
Nice. Good day from Australia. What time is it in Australia right now? Is it almost time to go to bed? It's going to be close to midnight. Well,
I'm proud of us for not automatically sinking into an Australian accent for that response. Excellent. Don't take the low-hanging fruit, everybody. Well done.
Let's see. We have Mr. John Joker.
Joker.
John, you came super close to the winning last night on Mega J Retro's wheel. I think you were down in the top 5 out of like over 200 people on the wheel. So that's quite an accomplishment.
That's a big wheel.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, he's a pretty big YouTuber. Maybe someday we'll get as big as Mega J. We have Dave's Dimension. Morning, Dave.
What's happening, Dave?
Fabulous again. Let's see. It looks like we have a few people that like the intro. Thank you. I mean, you got to come in with a good intro for Josh. Josh deserves He
does.
A good intro.
Y'all making me blush this morning. Goodness gracious. If this is what it's like to stream in the morning, let's switch to the mornings. Forget the night owls. Let's do morning owls.
Hey, I was all about the early birds, man. I tried.
That's correct.
I like that. Your intro is pretty good. I like that with the owls. That was super cool.
That's all dude.
Yeah, dude,
that was super cool.
Him, you know that's him singing too. He's playing the guitar and singing that.
9 Owls live stream.
Is he really?
Yes.
I have to rewatch that.
It's great.
That's funny.
Is that
Sleeping
collectibles I see?
Wow. We pulled somebody away from an epic toy hunt. Welcome, sir.
Sure.
He's walking through Target right now, looking at his phone.
He probably just got done recording, looked at his phone.
All right. I think we welcome everyone in the chat at the moment. We have a good amount of people. So thank you all for joining us this morning.
Yeah,
and we're going to hop right into it.
Should we answer John's question, or you want to do that later?
We'll do that after. Let's break it up a little bit. Let's jump into so Target had a haulathon this week starting the 18th. And I know there are some people here that got some amazing pickups.
No, who could that be?
Jeez, I don't know. I actually got a few good items myself, but Josh has one really great item. So we're going to save Josh's for last and have the anticipation build up. But I'll start with a couple of items, and then we'll jump over to Dan, and we'll kind of just rotate a little bit until we're done showing some pickups. Does that sound all right, guys?
Sounds great, Dino.
Right? Anytime somebody else wants to take the wheel. All right. So my first pickup is let me jump over to so I am big into wrestling now. So I got me my Diamond Dallas page.
When did you becoming big into wrestling happen? What was your journey, Dino?
I think my journey happened a few different reasons. Reason I love wrestling back in the 80s. We all did. Rock and wrestling, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. I went all the way up to probably 2005. Kept watching it. I remember when my wife gave birth to my daughter, I was holding my daughter, looking at the TV, and my wife's laughing at me because I am holding my newborn, but I'm watching wrestling on TV. So I loved it. I thought it was amazing. And then I kind of slipped out of it, family life takes over and stuff like that. But then walking the toy aisles with disappointment, looking for Star Wars lately has been brutal. And then I started watching Nathan Bauer and Taz and AMW, and they're talking wrestling. I
Country Fried Wrestling on the
yeah,
Nathan
Country
Bowden
Fried
channel.
Wrestling.
Y'all check it out, please.
Definitely, please. So now it's spiking my interest in that. So I started going on eBay, picking up some good wrestlers, finding some wrestlers in stores. So I'm having a blast. I have 2 wrestling rings set, one on each side. I'm opening them up, have met wrestling matches. So it's been all fun. And you're into wrestling too, right?
Huge. Yes. I'd like to think of myself as one of the few who like try to sing the praises. I know Nathan does an excellent job, and Nathan definitely incorporates some of the wrestling. But like as far as the people in my little sphere of influence, there's not a ton that talk wrestling toys. So it's nice to see you getting into it. It's something that I think a lot of people complain very, very often about, Hasbro and the challenges that they face. It's not surprising that you kind of fell into it because of lack of product from other companies.
Yeah.
Mattel does a pretty good job of as far as getting product into people's hands, and AEW Jazzwares line is also doing an exceptional job of putting product in people's hands. So, hey, when
AEW?
AEW, yes.
Yeah.
I primarily skew towards AEW now as opposed to WWE. I like the product, like the wrestling itself, a lot better in AEW than I do WWE. So it's more of a personal preference as far as that's concerned, but I still collect both lines, but I don't collect as much WWE as I used to. I primarily focus on the women's division.
Oh, really? The women's division, huh?
Absolutely. Support women's wrestling, support LGBTQ wrestling. Absolutely. 100%.
What was it? Was it Glow?
Yeah.
Glow in the 80s. Remember that?
Oh,
absolutely. Did you go back and watch the Glow series on Netflix? It was pretty good.
Super good.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done.
Season
2, I think was a little off, but
Awesome Kong was the one female wrestler on there.
Oh yeah,
the one who had the back problems, and she was supporting her family and everything. Like a lot of that's legit. She's a real wrestler. She just recently retired. She's excellent. She's a legend.
Wasn't that basically most of that true?
A lot of the stuff with her, I think they incorporated a lot of her story and her personal journey into that character. Like the character itself was kind of a hodgepodge of a few different ladies from Glow back in the day, but because of her perspective, they were able to incorporate a lot of her own stuff into that character. So
yeah, I love that.
Excellent work.
Yeah, that was a great series. So WWE for me says real Batman. So let's I have another wrestler, and then we'll go over to Dan. So Nikolai Volkov, it was a icon back in the 80s. But did you know that when he switched over to the good side, America, so he's got his American flag on his shirt. So this is Series 9, Nikolai Volkov.
Good old Nikolai.
Yep.
Where's Shiki, baby? I spit in your face. I make you humble. Come on, I break your back, you jabroni.
I do have a couple of him up there, but I'll show him at another time. Nice. I do represent some of the bad guys in wrestling. But since I showed my wrestling figures in Nikolai, we'll go over to Dan.
What are the odds? It just, I'd not seen this in store at all, and I was doing my Target run after I saw yours, Josh, and I found the end cap where those NECAs are, but of course I walked up to it, almost completely wiped out shelf in all 3 stores in my town. I think the only thing I saw was the with the glow in the dark TMNT
Mothman.
figure,
Yeah.
and the one Wolfman. But sitting
Oh,
over
they
there
had a
in the
Wolfman?
NECAs was this guy, and I was like, "What's he doing over here?" And I wondered if he like maybe they found him in the back and put him out, or I don't know if they would be putting out a new shipment of these, but he wasn't in the right spot, and I was like, "Well, I'll grab him. I can always use another Sergeant Slaughter." And
That-
this version specifically was the reason I thought it was funny that Dino had found that Nikolai. What are the odds, right?
So that one is actually it's weird because like the distribution's real spotty because that showed up on the West Coast first, I believe, and then it
Did it?
disappeared for probably a month and a half, and now there's shippers that are starting to hit targets right now, and he's in that shipper.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
a fresh run. Okay.
Yeah. Give me
Anything else?
20 maggots.
Right. And I think I showed you this one last night just since it's you guys. I was saving
Oh, I
this one
haven't seen that
today.
one. Yeah, I haven't seen that one in store yet.
I haven't
Really?
either. I ordered it off of GameStop, and GameStop already shipped it. So awesome.
Yeah, I think that's the only AEW figure I'd probably get at the moment. I did see a Chris Jericho in store. I was tempted, but his face sculpt, I just didn't want him in a shouting at the time.
I'm trying to tell figures are better when you're taking that. Yeah, we were talking about that last night on the breakdown. You know, Jazzwares does have some hit or miss articulation, but nothing that they would. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're doing, right? Like you were saying, like if you're trying to recreate, you know, a match or something like that, yeah, it's not gonna hold. But if you're just sitting one down for a pose, they look good and they pose mildly, so they're still not bad figures.
I open everything real Batman. Can I call you Bruce? Can we just get through the formalities? So
Sorry.
Bruce, what I like to do is I open everything. I understand what you're saying as far as like loose joints. I don't necessarily see loose joints. What I see is weak knees. And I think that over the course of time, I don't think that the quality on the knees is going to hold up, especially if you've got them anywhere where they're going to be exposed to heat or sunlight. I think that over the course of time, that will definitely take its toll. But the same thing can be said for a lot of Mattel products as well. So I don't see either one really edging each other out. I think Mattel might have a slight edge just from the standpoint that they've been doing it a lot longer than Jazzwares has. But the thing that I like a lot about Jazzwares is the fact that Jeremy Padour is always on Twitter. He's engaged with his fan base. He's asking what the fans want to see. And one of the things that does get sung quite a bit is the quality issues as far as the knees and the elbow joints. So I think that that's something that they will continue to tweak. If you look at the first 3 lines of AEW by Jazzwares were extremely difficult to get in stores. People hated it. They were bitching all the time. They couldn't get product. And fast forward to where we're at today, I haven't had an issue getting any of the AEW by Jazzwares figures on store pegs personally. So
What
that's
wave
my
are they
own
on
opinion.
now?
But well, they've started a second line, so they have both unmatched and unrivaled. They're on, I believe, 7 or 8 of the first one, and then the second series is what the Sting is from, and I think that is wave 2 of that line.
It says 2, series 2.
So Sting is just one figure in that set, right?
That
Does
is
he
correct.
come with-
But he's a different one because there's only like 1 or 2 of them that have that foil cover, right, Josh?
No, I think they all have they're all the foil cover. So
are they?
Sting actually has 2 separate chases. One of them is I believe 5,000. So that's the cool thing about AEW by Jazzwares figures is in each line they have 2 figures that have a chase figure. And even if you don't collect wrestling figures in general, I would encourage you to check your AEW pegs and look for the little chase sticker on the box. Or what does happen from time to time, I personally have had it happen. The sticker fell off of mine on pegs, so nobody grabbed the Britt Baker chase that I was able to find. And I contacted AEW. I contacted Jazzwares, and they shipped me out a new sticker. So if you
sweet.
know the product enough to recognize what the chase is, you can find it. So Sting has a 1 of 5,000, if I'm not mistaken, which is the exact same shirt, the exact same figure as what Dan showed, with the exception of a different T-shirt on underneath the duster. And then he also has a Walmart exclusive, which the Walmart exclusive is not as rare, but it has different face paint, no duster, and it has a different T-shirt because it's when he teamed with Darby Allin, and it's got half Sting's face paint and half Darby Allin's face paint because that's what he did on an episode of Dynamite, if I'm not mistaken.
That's cool.
Yeah. RB, we're with it. Where's the meat, RB? Oh, that's RB's. Sorry.
So, Cap, you have anything you want to show?
Yes, I do. So we did get Fugitoid this week.
Oh, you did? I didn't see that one in store. Let me hold it. Let me change this and put some people on big screen. Let's be professional here, Dean.
So we got Fugitoid.
That's a cool packaging.
Yeah, I found a couple of him. They did have the signature edition as well. So the signature editions were $99.99. This is one of those things where $99.99. I'm not going to pay $99.99 for a signature.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that the box for the signature edition was a little bit banged up. So like the top was bubbled out quite a bit, which I think they're going to have a hard time selling that at $99.99, especially when it's going to be a collector that wants to buy it, and the collector is going to want it in good shape. The other thing I don't like...
I wonder if you go to like a manager and get a discount.
Highly doubt it.
Sometimes when you see...
They're not going to understand that.
I doubt it from the standpoint because it's a vendor item, and the vendors are the ones who have to merchandise it. So for NECA, like Target employees don't stock NECA. The NECA representative has to come into the store and put these out. And I think any discounts also have to go through NECA. Could be mistaken, but I believe that's the case. If anybody's interested in this, if anybody needs this, I'm looking to trade. So I'm talking to Verno about that. I've got 2 of these. Let me know. If not, I'll let it go for retail plus shipping. And then I also got said Wolfman this week.
Cool. That's a black and white version, right?
So this is the black and white version. So this came out as part of the haul-a-thon that NECA was doing this week. So he is an excellent figure. It's awesome because I wasn't sure how I was going to get the black and white version because I wasn't paying attention enough to figure out when they were going to release this. But the Frankenstein that I bought was the black and white version, so I wanted to keep with the theme.
Yeah. See, I have the colored version of Frankenstein, so I'll have to get the colored version of Wolfman or get one of each, and I don't think my budget will allow me to do that.
It's not easy, for sure.
So I'm going to roll over and show you an item to match with you just had, Cap.
Yeah.
So I picked up the other day is the black and white Migo creature from the Black Lagoon.
I need it. I got to find it.
Yeah, they had a ton in store.
Did they?
Yeah, so I have the green version also. But
Same here.
I love
I've
the
got
packaging.
2. Yeah.
I think I like this packaging a lot better than the
card
original. Because you can stack these. You put this on a shelf like that. That looks cool. And then you can line them all up like books.
Yeah.
Or you can unbox it or keep it like that, At least you have options versus a card takes up so much space and you can only show it one way.
I'm eager to get my hands on that one, and I might be tempted to get the what is it? The Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, I have that. They have a bunch of those. So I was going to grab that too, but my budget was like, you got choices. And this is the other choice I had to make. So they made bendy figures a while back, right? And I have the creature from the Black Lagoon, which looks like Monster Squad,
something
right?
Other than the creature from the Black Lagoon. Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't look like the creature. He looks like from Monster Squad, which to me is awesome. So I'm going to share something real quick. I think if I can do it. So let's see. Monster Squad. Let's see. So this is the Monster Squad. And
So good.
the creature looks like that. The Dracula that the Bendy came with looks kind of like that. The Frankenstein, maybe. But they have... Is this showing too? Did it switch image?
It's still the same image
Still
of
got the Monster Squad.
Monster Squad.
They're going to make me change it, aren't they? Dang. So let me... So they came out with a new series that's coming out. A new wave, I should say. And it is... Let's see if I can scroll, find it right here. Oh, okay. I'll show you this one. And it's the Wolfman. And don't tell me this doesn't look like Monster Squad Wolfman.
I would agree. Kick him in the nards.
I was
Kick
just,
in the-
you beat me to it, dang it.
I'm sorry. Eno said somebody needs to drive, so I'm just trying to help and take the wheel whenever there's a lull in the conversation, Dan.
So I am going to two things. So I'm going to stop sharing. But I did pick up because they had a restock of Dracula.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to buy the mummy. Looks like the mummy from the Monster Squad. I'll get the Wolfman. I'll get Frankenstein. And I'll open up the creature. And yeah, so we're going to have Monster Squad. And if I can customize the kids...
I have to say I'm impressed with the detail that's in those figures. I saw that Lord of the Rings Sauron, and it looked like a legit, like, collectible figure. You know, the detail on that one. I almost got it just to go along with my my old Toy Biz sets, but I think it's just probably just a little bit small. I mean, it might be on par, but yeah, I've passed that one up a couple times, and I may end up caving. I'm only curious as to if you pull them out, are they going to crack? I mean, I haven't actually opened one up. So what kind of material is that? Is it? I'm picturing like a Stretch Armstrong in my head. What is it? What does it feel like?
It's
I
just
haven't
a
opened
bendy.
one yet. I think it's
Yeah,
just
I
bendy
thought you
figures.
opened that creature.
I haven't opened them yet. The packaging's good, but I'm gonna open when I get them all because the packagings are so big, and they come with a stand. So I'm gonna open them all up.
Yeah.
Hey, morning,
What's
Cat.
up, Cat? That's why I
Yeah,
could have.
Cat.
I thought I saw a video of you.
No, hold on a second. What? Yeah, no, it's Cat. You want to? Hold on, wait, guys. Somebody wants to say hi to Cat. So, sorry. Let me.
What's happening right now?
I don't know. It's sorry.
This
Let's
isn't
see if
going to
I
be a
can
bit
figure
where
this
you
out.
leave and you come back dressed as somebody else, is it?
Oh, it's a porno Rocky.
What's he eating in that picture?
That's a good
Why is he
question.
wearing a wig? Whoa! Now he's disappeared.
Hey,
Whoa.
did somebody say Cat? Hi, Cat. You know, I love Cat. I love Cat.
He does love
Toasted.
cats.
I love Cat.
Ha!
Baked. I
I
love
kill
Cat.
me.
Yeah, kill me.
I love Cat boiled. Cat, I love you. Hey, Elf.
Stargate.
That's not Cat. That's Vader's girl. My bad. All right, get out of here.
PCZ Elf.
That's my latest pickup.
Excellent work, Dino.
That was
So
on the
yeah.
NECA shelf too, wasn't it?
That was
Yeah.
the Holothon, yes.
Yeah,
All of them. And the packaging's cool, man.
that's cool.
I'm looking forward to the NECA Elf figure, but
Oh, yeah.
I passed on the puppet. But he's decent. He's a good little nostalgia.
Well,
He's soft, man. He's
Seeing him
super
in
soft.
action, I'm definitely impressed.
He feels almost like a Squishmallow. And you gotta love Squishmallows, right?
Do you? Do you?
I have a daughter. Well, check out this Squishmallow. Bigfoot.
That's funny. We need to get one of those for Sean.
All right.
All right, one more.
You want the rest of the Holothon?
Drum roll.
I know
let me
you've
put
been
you on.
waiting for.
Ba-da-da-dum.
All right.
Dun.
So this is the signature edition. So I grabbed the signature edition. I passed on it. I left it for a fellow collector. I went back after 24 hours and said fellow collector never claimed it, so I picked it up and I will be shipping this out to a friend of mine for retail plus shipping. So get it in the hands of people who are going to love it, but I did try to at least leave it on the shelf for somebody here locally, but they didn't want to take advantage of it. Now that being said,
$100 is a lot.
$100 is a lot. So personally, I didn't see the value of it, but he's a big Elvira fan. He's a huge horror fan. So if he sees value in it, I'd rather have it in the hands of somebody who's going to appreciate it.
Out of all the signature editions, that would be the only one that I would probably think about picking up.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Does anybody know what she charge at cons? I'm imagining she makes a decent living off of it.
Yeah.
So it might be a decent value. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do have this one. So if you're interested,
yes, please.
We can open it. Now, I will, let's set the table and say that there is not going to be anything inappropriate that happens when we open Elvira. We're not going to check underneath the clothing, anything like that.
At least not while we're live.
Not live.
No, that's not going to happen, period. So in the
Backstage?
chat, do not encourage. It's not going to happen. Y'all are just going to expose yourselves as creepers if you do that.
Yeah,
Be better than that, people.
Is my chances done? Am I not going to be able to find her in store now?
You can pre-order her, from what I've been told.
Yeah, I still have the pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store. Well,
yeah, I think this was just first crack at it.
So they're going to release it more, anyways, right? You're saying?
Yeah.
So So you say there's a chance.
We're saying there's a chance.
But I do open the toys that have batteries in them.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, if it's electronic or if it's mobile, like if it's one of those gadget or gimmick figures, yes, definitely I open those. I don't see those being collector values. For me, I leave the large majority of my stuff in the package. Even if I open it up, I'll put it back in the package. But I don't think that the unopened figures have as much as value as they used to, because they used to be on the cards, and once you opened it, it was done, right? You had that blister, that clamshell, and so it had the glue on the cover. But now with the packaging that you see from Mattel, Hasbro, you can kind of just sneak those open and put them right back, and you don't even know that it's open.
Every company in this day and age, and Jazzwares is terrible at this, should be doing some type of collector friendly packaging where you can slide the tray in and out and be able to get to the toy and replace it easy.
Morning, Gap. I didn't say good morning to you, I don't think.
So they're terrible about it or good about it?
What was that?
Did you say Jazzwares is bad about it or good about it?
They're terrible. You have to destroy the packaging in order to get them out.
Really?
Yeah, there's no tray on that, so you have to literally tear that off the card.
Oh, this whole thing is like glued.
What's this one that Cat's talking about?
All right,
Wesley as Dread Pirate Robert. I don't think
it must just be their wrestling figures, Josh, because I got these halos pop out.
It might be just their wrestling figures, but it's not good. I'm not a fan. I've had to destroy every single package in order to get it out.
Cat, I'll have to look into that one. I'm not even sure what that was. Was that part of the Holothon? The Dread Pirate Roberts?
No, Dread Pirate Roberts is standard release for McFarlane.
Oh, okay.
All right, so this is similar to like if anybody's gotten any of the NECA, the clothed figures, they've got like the Roddy Piper from They Live.
Yeah.
She's excellent, man.
That is a great sculpt.
That face is fantastic.
Yeah, they crushed that one.
Yeah.
So you think you can get a couch and lay her on the couch like she is? The red couch.
Well, I mean, as far as posability is concerned,
yeah.
Could it be done? Can it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man, yeah.
Easily.
Definitely. Put the elbow down, and you could.
Yeah.
Unpleasant dreams.
Yo, that's so cool, man. You got to do that, right?
Oh,
you can find a couch like that?
I mean, I could probably print one, sure.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any customizer out there. Do we know any 3D printers out there? Any guys, any people that do 3D printing?
We might have some people. All right, so this head is not. Oh, there we go. All right.
She hasn't had any
and then-
complaints.
What's that?
Nothing.
Blue, we didn't need to know that. Blue says, I'm watching from the bath. He's having a bubble bath this morning. Well, it's actually probably afternoon for him, but.
Well, Blue's probably taking a nice hot bath to feel better.
We got Rolando came in.
Oh, he
One
did
of
stay
Rolando.
candid.
Rolando. Here is the alternate portrait, as it
Alternate head.
Oh, what's the alternate head?
Oh, the
she got
wink.
blood on it?
The
Winky
wink.
face.
Oh, the wink. Oh, that's cool.
Does she have the dagger?
She's got
Dan.
more than a dagger, man. She's got some great.
She does have the dagger.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
So
they
it's
crushed this one.
Very, very small. She also has a little cup,
Oh, a little goblet.
Yeah.
little goblet that's smoking. Looks like there's perhaps a potion inside, as well as like a little candle accessory, which is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's cool, man. So yeah, you set that on the table, the couch.
Yep, a stand and a couch.
Yep.
And that is exactly, yes.
And they did throw in one of their cheap little NECA stands, which you
Yeah.
can get these in packs of 10 at Target. But Elvira, man, if you guys could get her, she's a great
Yeah.
addition.
I definitely need her.
Now,
the-
is that an
The
8
Toonie Terrors version, I wasn't a fan because I kept finding googly eyes. Like her eyes were going a million different directions, and it
Yeah,
drove
I
me
have her.
absolutely nuts.
It
So
did,
if I can
didn't it?
find one, with a decent paint app, I will add the Toonie Terrors to my collection as well. But I am
I've
so
only
happy
found-
with this figure.
Yeah, I only found one, and it was just slightly off enough, but not enough to drive me nuts.
Yeah,
Let me,
embiggen yourself, Dino.
I'm trying.
And
Takes a couple. Takes.
engorge your image. Yeah,
So
he's got one of the. Is that good or is that off? I can't.
It's hard to tell. It's a little blurry, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not
horrible.
bad from certain angles, but you
Yeah.
can tell there's something up with it.
Yeah,
That's-
you can
that's-
tell something.
That's
up.
about what mine looks like too.
Yeah.
Actually, looking at it straight on doesn't look too bad. I think just in the camera it looks worse, if that makes any sense. But still a good figure, man. I love the Toonie Terrors.
I love the Toonie Terrors as well. That was the first one where once they announced it, I was like, done, take my money here. And then I saw it in store, and that's the first one I've walked away from after really
wow,
wanting it.
really.
Yeah.
So since Blue's in the chat, Blue, hope you're get the bubbles out of your eyes. But I picked this up because I do get some diecast vehicles. But so I got car.
Hey.
Check that out. Look at
Wait a second. Where's that?
Oh, it does the damn it.
So I have Knight Rider, I have Kit, and it looks basically the same except for the light's red and the paint job's obviously different. But yeah, so I had to get this. This was a must own, mainly because I love Knight Rider, but you know, listening to Blue and his streams and stuff like that spikes it up. I have one more haul item.
Let me ask you real quick about that
Yeah.
kit. When you showed it, the light on the front looked a little more orange. I don't know if that's just the light
is.
where you're at.
It is orange. The light
Yeah.
isn't it supposed to be orange?
I thought it was closer to red, but maybe
That's
that's just my nostalgia mind.
That's Kit.
That's
Kit is
Kit.
red.
Kit's is red. He's got car.
Oh, that's Car.
That's car. That's the rival. It's a different Firebird, I think. And
My bad.
this is Kit.
Okay, so Kit's is red.
Yeah, so this is Kit.
Disregard.
This is Kit. So Kit has
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, that makes sense.
so that's that. So
I've
we
never
have
I've never seen car. Where did you find that at?
Walmart. That's why I grabbed it. There's only one there. I'm like, I gotta get that.
Yeah.
I have one more haul, Oh, Dan, go on. Let me show you a thing.
And your
I was
toy.
already-
Show your toy too.
Show you a toy. Oh, is that it?
Is that the
Yeah.
original?
So how do you make the light work? Because in the package, the doors. Oh, so does it always stay open?
When you shut it, it does it. It comes on when you open it. That's just
so
the,
it
it's set
can
for,
just shut then.
yeah. So
Michael, you left a French fry in my back seat.
you guys ever watch Ted 2? The sequel?
Thunder Buddies for life, buddy.
Yeah. That scene was hilarious, wasn't it? I think.
Oh, yeah.
It was in the special edition.
Whoa. Oh yeah. There he is.
Oh, that's a
So it
that's
does.
a strong
This
glow.
packaging glows in the dark.
Yeah, that's
This
crazy.
whole thing glows in the dark, as well as Muckman glows.
He's got good glow. Damn it.
That's intense glow.
It's hard to tell because the light over here is showing. But I'm a huge sucker for glow, and Muckman is like my one of my favorite vintage Ninja Turtles.
So
I have the original Muckman,
yeah.
and I have the original toy that was mine as a kid. I wasn't really a kid, I guess, at that. In that, I was probably more of a teenager. But yeah, so now he's got his buddy.
I saw that one, and I haven't collected any. Like, the only turtles that I've collected in terms of NECA were the 4 movies, and I got a Casey Jones, and I'm trying to hold the line at that. But damn, if that glow in the dark on that Muckman didn't tempt me something fierce. It's so close. If it were a situation where I didn't score the Elvira, I may have caved and bought the Muckman just for wanting to have money burn a hole in my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't see Elvira, but when I walked, they had. I went to a second Target and they only had one Muckman.
I think I figured out like the dividing line in my area where the NECA reps, like there must be multiple NECA reps because on like the north side of town, Haulathon items were out, whereas the south side of my town, they were not out. So it's got to be a north-south divide for the representatives.
Yeah.
Left Coast and Roz are here.
What's up, Ross?
RB's taking off. See you later, man. Thanks for stopping in.
What's happening, Rick?
So we have the original. I have one more item that I picked up. Two. So this is the original Muckman right here. Boom! I got him this week too.
Oh,
whoa,
Toxie.
So this is the original. What are they call these? These were. This line was. I have it. Oh no! Now showing. Was the line? So they had a bunch. They had American Will for London figures. Those nightmare creatures. But yeah, so I grabbed him.
Is this early McFarlane? Was this the Movie Maniacs?
This is
No?
like before Movie Maniacs, I think.
Wow.
Or right around the same time as the beginning of Movie Man. So you got these at like Suncoast Video. Did you have a Suncoast Videos where you were from?
I did, yes.
Yeah, so that's where these guys came from. But I got him at my local. What's that, Dan?
I said they knew me by name. Every employee in there. Yep, they'd walk in. Hey, Dan.
I was buying VHS tapes when they first came out with widescreen VHS. I'm like, what? And I watched Star Wars, and I'm like, it was like watching Star Wars a whole new, because now you see more of the movie.
See that extended screen.
How many conversations did you have to have with people? No, you're actually seeing more of the movie. Well, it's not on it's not filling up the screen. It doesn't make sense.
Like those little bars.
Yeah, they didn't even have widescreen TVs at the time when those, right? It was just regular
pan and scans.
Yeah.
You know, this is petty, but one of the things I miss about Suncoast the most is I would always go in there and pre-order the movies. They were always on time.
Oh, yeah.
And they usually gave you a bonus for pre-ordering instead of, like now when you pre-order and you just watch it hit the shelves and you jealously watch everybody else get your toys. When I pre-ordered a DVD or a VHS, I'd get a poster, a collectible. Suncoast would always have stuff for you if you pre-ordered a big name.
I'm
missed
reading
it.
John's the movie Neon Maniacs. No,
Hey, you showed off the Monster Squad. Why the hell haven't we gotten a Monster Squad remake with the actual Universal Monsters licenses?
Right?
yeah, I don't think they can do that. At least they couldn't do like original Universal monsters, right?
Universal Monsters will let them print the likeness of those characters on damn near anything. You can probably get Universal Monster. You could probably get a Dracula pack of maxi pads if you wanted to, but we can't get the Monster Squad to have the actual Universal Monster license.
I like the Monster Squad monsters. Am I the only one?
They're fine, but it's just that one feels like of all the things that you can go back and remake, why haven't they done that? It feels like it's
Yeah.
such a no-brainer. You don't even have to redo the movie, just do the right characters in there. Do the actual likenesses. It'd be so much better.
Not heard of Neon Maniacs.
One more pickup. So, John, I showed this earlier on a dude's channel. So, right back at you, John, Super Awesome Geek Show. We had a live stream in the morning, and I did Captain Powers. He did Skeleton Warriors. That week, he bought one of the Captain Powers that I don't own. So, I went out and I bought one of the Skeleton Warriors that he doesn't own. So, right back at you. I love it, though.
Collectors and their competitiveness.
Right?
Will it never end?
The trade will happen. No, I love that one. But all right, so that's it for my pickups. Anybody else want to show anything else before we move on?
That is all
No,
I
I think we're good. Let's get into some fitness and 3D printing talk.
Yeah, well, I love toys, man. Toy talk, pickups. You guys are the only people that will appreciate my pickups. It's like I come home, hey, hon, look what I bought. It's like, get that thing out of my face.
That sounds familiar. Yeah. Well, do you get the complacent, patronizing? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, you're showing her, I assume, toys when she says, "Get that out of my face," right?
Well, I have been married for over 20 years.
Look at my Toxic Avenger.
All right, so let's move over to everyone's favorite item right now is 3D printing. It's fascinating. I want to know more about 3D printing. I have some items that I would love to have 3D printed. I want to know where to start, what to do, what's a good product, what's a price value that is good. So I'm going to let Josh take over the floor. And Josh, you want to be big screen or small screen? Or does it matter?
You can put me on big screen, and I'm going to share my screen here in a moment and play a video, and we're just going to kind of talk over it as we go through. But before you put that one up, let's do this. So if you're interested in getting into 3D printing, there's a lot of things that you need to consider, okay? So depending on what you're looking to accomplish by your 3D printing, I focus primarily around the collecting aspect and 3D printing. How can I enhance my collection? How can I make items that are going to make my figure displays look better? As well as I started getting into actually painting the models. And then once I started painting the models, I wanted to have like nice, display worthy pieces. So from that standpoint, you need to consider a couple different things. There's two different types of 3D printing that are out there. There's FDM, which takes filament like this. Okay, you can buy this. This is a great company that I deal with called Printed Solid. They're out of Maryland, I believe, Maryland or Rhode Island, somewhere over on the East Coast. You can get a roll of this for about $20, and this will serve you a lot. This will get you a lot of items out of this one spool. They do excellent work. You can get this in a number of different colors. Just about any color you can think of, they probably make it. They offer things like subscription services. So if you're looking for like unique type of filament, they will create unique colors and release them exclusively through subscription services. But this is what you're going to need in order to print, as well as your printer, obviously. Now, if you want to do SLA or resin printing, in order to do SLA or resin printing, you need to get yourself some resin. All right. This stuff is extremely toxic. So you have to wear gloves when you're handling it. I would encourage you to use some type of breathing mask, some type of respirator while you're dealing with it. If you don't have space to do this within your home, in a place that's ventilated, I keep my resin printing setup in my basement bathroom where there's a vent and a fan running constantly. If you don't have a situation like that, resin printing may not be for you. If you're nervous about handling any chemicals, anything else like that, this is just one chemical that's involved, this UV resin. The other one that you have to deal with is isopropyl alcohol. So there's a lot of materials that are going to go into resin printing. But that being said,
what's the benefits of resin versus? So is resin easy?
I got a video to show you all that. So we'll walk through it and we'll discuss it.
Nice.
If you want to think about 3D printing, anybody ever have this when you guys were growing up? So this is one of those Puzz 3Ds.
Yeah, I remember that.
So each of these are an individual layer that makes up a bigger image. This is a perfect representation for what 3D printing is, because 3D printing at its core, each of these individual lines is what you are doing when you are creating a 3D print. So if you're doing FDM, the nozzle on your printer is going around and it is creating a full line of each of these layers. Once it gets done with that first layer, then it goes up, the nozzle raises up a little bit, and it goes and it does the second layer. And just over the course of time, eventually you get your 3D printed model. For resin printing, you do the reverse. So the resin printing, there's an arm that dips into a vat and it slowly goes up and it pulls, and it's doing the same thing. It's just creating a layer. So when you're looking to get into 3D printing, you have to find an image, some type of 3D object, and then you're going to do what is called slicing that object. And you're slicing it into all of these layers, which is going to allow you to print your object. You can get a number of different objects from a number of different sources. You can get them on Thingiverse, which is a free website. Many of the models on there are free. A lot of the things with collecting related, you can just go there. If you find the item, you can download it yourself. You just slice the file and then you import it into your printer. So that being said, if you want to go ahead and put my video up there, we can go ahead and I'll play the video and we'll talk.
Vader in storage, he says.
What's that?
Let's pull on.
That Vader is, I've had that thing for years. It's great. All right. So this video, we'll just go ahead and we'll talk through it as we're going. But this is what it looks like when the filament is coming out of the nozzle. So when you're getting ready, this is what is coming out. You go through, you hit your little screen, you set it up to print, and this is what it looks like when it's printing. All right, so it's going through and it's setting up its first layer, and it's just going to continue to do this pattern, and over the course of time, it's going to build up each of those layers until you get yourself an object. You have to think about things like overhangs. So if something is going to be out on its own, an arm, for example, if it needs to be supported on the right-hand side there, you can see it's got a little tiny dot that's going to go up and it's going to work its way to where it's supporting material at some point. So this is going to be a Hulk little statue that I printed. FDM does not have as good a resolution as resin printers. When we're talking about resolution, what we're saying is the different lines. So you can actually see a number of the different lines within this model if you look closely. And I've got a couple images later on which will do that. So you see the little tower over on the right-hand side, it went up and it's supporting that arm that's hanging out. Because if it would have gotten to that section and didn't support it, there was nothing there. It was going to print over open space and that filament just would have fallen down. So after it's all done, this is what you get, the support on the face. You can see the different layer lines if you really look closely. And that's what we're talking about in terms of resolution. Cleaning it up, if you've got good support settings, you can just pull that off.
Wow.
That comes off, and then your print is pretty much done with this. Depending on what you're looking to do with this, you can go and you can print this up, paint it up. You can sand it if you want to try to remove some of those layer lines. That takes a lot of work. But in terms of the product that you're looking at, it's not bad. It's not terrible.
It looks clean too.
Yeah, it's not that bad. So we're going to go through and you're going to see a little bit here as I get this cleaned up, and I'll show you a better look.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
cool.
pretty clean. There's a little bit of a dot up by his hair that you can see, which is a little weird to me, but it's not terrible. It's a pretty decent print. So if I wanted to go through and I really wanted to clean this up and I wanted to paint it, I might sand it a little bit just to try to get rid of some of those layer lines. But this is what you're going to get as far as FDM. Now, this took 8 hours to print. It's not that big of an item. Let's take a look at resin printing. This is going down into the vat. Now, resin does not offer a number of different colors, but you can dye your resin. And with this, I was going and I tried to dye the resin slightly green, like almost a mint color is what I was looking for. So I added dye to it, and it's going to go in, and you can see that instead of those supports like in FDM, this is what the supports look like for resin. Now with resin, you're not going to print a full solid object. You're going to end up hollowing it out, and you need to allow that resin to drain out. Again, this is all toxic. So if you're dealing with this, you got to have gloves on. If you don't have ventilation in your room, you're asking for problems down the road with respiratory health. So definitely make sure that you're taking care of yourself. But this prints a lot faster, and the print is going to be a lot cleaner. Now I screwed up my scale here, so this is going to be a smaller model than what we see here, but this only took roughly 4 to 5 hours to print this item. Okay, so in terms of FDM is going around and it's creating an entire layer, resin is printing an entire layer in one setting. Okay, then you have to take and you have to put it in isopropyl alcohol and wash it and clean up the print. So this is what it looks like when it's done printing.
Wow.
And here we're going to remove the supports. This is the build plate that it prints on. And then I'm going to remove the supports. And you'll be able to see on the bottom, there's going to be some drain holes, which allow the resin to come out.
That's clean too.
Yeah, it's not that bad at all. And this is like the resolution on resin prints is immaculate compared to FDM.
Yeah.
But
is it more
you're not
durable?
going to be able to get size out of resin without paying for it.
Yeah.
Both of these processes, there's a steep learning curve. I wouldn't suggest you get into this if you're not ready to teach yourself a new skill, because it's very much people who are selling items on Etsy and things like that. In order to get you a quality product, they have put in a lot of work to hone their skills and get better with what they're doing. Okay. So if you look at a 3D printed product and say, well, I'm just going to go and I can buy a printer and I'll be able to do the same thing, no issues. It's not that easy. I don't want anybody to think that it's super easy. If you're ready to learn, go ahead and do it.
Wow.
Once you're done cleaning your resin print, then you have to cure your resin print. So this is a separate piece of equipment. This is a wash and cure station. So this is the same thing that I was washing in the isopropyl alcohol. And in the isopropyl alcohol, then you take that vat off, and it's got a little turntable and a UV light. It's UV resin. It is gamma rays, yes. Dr. Bruce Banner injected by gamma rays. Once he's cured up, then he's going to be solid, and he's going to be firm, and he's going to be safe to handle without having to have gloves on. Okay? So in terms of what we're looking at, here is a side-by-side comparison. And if you look on the FDM print, you can still see the layer lines. The resin, you can't necessarily see the layer lines. There are layer lines, and I'll show you that in a couple moments here. But it's a different type of layer line where FDM is working vertically. Many times with resin, you want to have your model pitched at a certain angle to allow for the resin to run out and drain from the model, so you're not capturing everything inside of that hollow model. There's a lot that goes into 3D printing. So everybody who sits here and thinks that they're just going to go out and buy a printer and the next day they're going to be set up and printing things, you're going to have a lot of pain. You're going to have a lot of anguish. You have to learn quite a bit in order to get to where you want to be. I'm still nowhere near it. Dino, you did a nice job of singing my praises, and I certainly do appreciate it. But there are people out there who are infinitely better than me. The good thing is that community is very, very supportive. And if you ask many of these creators out there questions, they're eager to help you. So you can see extreme close-up. You can see those individual layer lines on this. So what you have to remember is if you're going to be painting this, all that paint is going to start in those grooves first. Okay. That's the top of the model, the top of the back of the shoulders. You can see where each of those individual top sections end up, right? So it's kind of like an 8-bit graphic. And over the course of time, 8-bit graphics got better. They went to 16 to 32 to 64. Same thing as far as printing is concerned. If you think of FDM as like 8-bit, resin is going to be like a PlayStation 5. Okay. You can get FDM to look pretty good, but as far as resin, you're never going to be able to get it as clean and as crisp as resin. Now, if you look, you can still see some layer lines on this resin model. And if you see those little circles, those ovals, those are the layer lines on your resin. So this printer is a 4K. They're up to 8K now. And that tells you what it can look like. This is an FDM print that I finished. So this is something that I did. So you can get decent paintwork out of FDM models.
Oh, wow.
But it kind of works with the Joker because he's got makeup. You can cake it on.
Yeah.
Santa Claus, again, this is an FDM print. But if you zoom in and you look, you can see those layer lines. So it's all going to be in what your personal experience is. Then we get to resin. And resin, I just think looks a lot better in terms of what you're doing. These are all prints that I have done myself. I've printed and painted. This is another resin one. So you have to think about what you want to do. Resin, you can't get size. You can't get scale. FDM, you can do things like this, where I can make a giant Frankenstein head. And it's not going to look exceptional, but that's a big piece, and you're never going to be able to print that in a resin printer without paying heftily in terms of the price on it.
Yeah.
FDM, you can make logos for your displays. So this is nice and this is crisp. You can do this, and this is something I like to do when I'm complementing my current displays. I made my Kyber crystal display. Again, this was FDM. I wouldn't do something like this in resin because it would kind of be a waste of money. FDM is super cheap from that standpoint. And then here's something, this is FDM with a resin on the left. So I printed it originally in FDM, wasn't ever happy with it. And then once I got the resin printer, this was one of the first things I went back and did. So hopefully that educates you guys a little bit.
That was beautifully done.
About 3D printing and what you can look for there. But yeah, it's fun. What kind of questions do you guys have for me?
Blue's got a question here. Can the resin crumble?
So the cool thing about resin is there's a number of different rigidities, I guess would be the right term for it. You can get things which is, for an FDM printer, there's ABS. They also make ABS-like material for resin. What ABS is if you think of Legos, it's very, very difficult to get a Lego to crack. That's made with a stronger material. They do make a resin that is ABS-like. And they also make some that are somewhat flexible. So depending on what you're trying to print, what you're trying to accomplish, they usually have a material that is able to support your needs.
Left Coast asked, and I'm assuming he's talking about the FDM one. Is there some kind of like line melter?
Paint on line melter stuff. So if you're talking about trying to get rid of the layer lines, I've seen people where they've taken an FDM print and they've kind of painted resin over top of it.
Oh, okay.
And then what they've done is they've UV cured the resin that's kind of glooped on there. I haven't tried that yet, so your results may vary. Me personally, I just don't. I've got a resin printer. I'll just use the resin printer. Yeah,
you've got it.
Yeah.
But that would work to fill the line, still maintain the sculpt.
I've seen people have success with it, and I've heard people say that it's difficult. I think with a lot of things, depending on who you're listening to and what their experience is, it's going to vary based on what you get out of it. So if you find somebody who says, hey, this works great, engage with that person, figure out what they did if you try to do it yourself and you're experiencing difficulties with it. If they're willing to answer your questions, maybe it'll help you succeed with what you're trying to accomplish.
I have a question.
Sure.
So as a price value, obviously you can go up, I'm sure, extreme amounts on items. But say I wanted, what would be a good printer on both ends, a low price, but it's still a good printer?
So the cool thing about both 3D printing technologies right now is they're getting to the point where for folks like us, it's relatively inexpensive. FDM you can usually get into. Creality is one of the manufacturers of FDM printers. They came out with a unit called the Ender, which is similar to the model that I have, but that's kind of the platform in which a lot of people will refer to FDM printers now. It's an Ender model. It's an Ender style printer. You can get into something like that. A decent one, what I purchased was a Neptune 2S made by a company called Lagoon. It cost me about $250. Reasonable. It's not bad. It comes with a flexible build plate, which when you're first starting off is going to be something that is going to be very, very valuable to you. It's going to help take away some of those frustrations. That would be my recommendation at that. If you're looking to get into FDM,
Could that build like a 6-inch figure, or is that too big for a printer that size?
No, you can print. I think the build height on it, you can probably go up to about 8 inches, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
It hasn't got a huge build volume, but it's enough to get you in. And one of the things you have to really think about is if you're going to start your 3D printing journey, get into something that's going to be easy to use, get into something that you're not going to get frustrated with, or if you're going to get frustrated, at least have it be something that's widely used to where you can readily find information on how to fix the issues that you're having. Okay, so that's a good gateway model for FDM. I would suggest going with something in the Ender range, $250, anywhere from like $200 to $300 would be what you're looking to spend when it comes to an FDM printer to get started. Resin, on the other hand, resin is one of those things where the technology is advancing so fast. Just 2 years ago, we were at 4K. Now we're up to 8K resolution. But the jump between 4K and 8K isn't really a big difference yet. And the 8K machines are very, very pricey, where the 4K are still somewhat comfortable. All right. I say comfortable. It's going to cost you roughly about $500 to get into something with a bigger build plate, to where if you want to do bigger size busts, you have to have simply a bigger build plate.
And that's still not too bad, $500 for something like that.
And you can even go, they've got smaller models by the same company. You can get into something in the $200 price range, but many of those machines are not dedicated, but they skew more towards folks who play tabletop gaming. So people who want to print miniatures for like their Dungeons and Dragons campaigns and things like that, that's what they're primarily using those machines for. So it's a smaller build plate. You're not going to be able to fit as many items on that build plate unless you go up, and then you're talking about size and what you can get printed off that machine.
Just backing up real quick, you did say I could get a bigger bust for $500? Because it seems really cheap.
$500? Yes. Yeah. And you don't have to worry about silicone leaking a couple years down the road. It's going to be fine.
That's exactly what because I'm thinking
go
with
the saline
alley deal, something that
gotta go there, right?
Also, Dean, to answer your question, I did pull up. I pulled it up while he was talking. It's 220 millimeters to 250 millimeters for that Ender 3, which is running about $200. So right in the price, or 250, like you said. That's 8.5 inches. So
decent size.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good.
John made a. I find the layered 3D printing items that I own are very fragile. Any slight move or twist and they break.
So, I mean, a lot of 3D printing, there are things that are called print-in-place items, and those are ones where they print them and they've got some type of joints in them. Right now, a popular one that everybody is printing is like a dragon, and they'll print it on the platform in a spiral, and then they'll lift it off the build plate, and it'll stretch out to 2.5 feet or something like that. But each of the pieces are connected, and you don't have to connect them yourself. It just prints in place in that way. Yeah. So many of I wouldn't say that 3D printed items are going to be flexible from the standpoint that you're going to have articulation. Each of those pieces would have to be printed individually unless you're looking at something like a print in place. So a lot of the FDM type things, and the resin too, for that standpoint, it's not necessarily designed to be moved unless you're talking about, like, if you wanted to print figures, you can print figures, but you're going to have to print the arm separate from the
like a
body.
Build-A-Figure.
Exactly.
And would it still be would it be fragile, like the joints, like the way it connects, or do you I don't know.
If you're
lock in?
experiencing, yeah. So if we're looking at resin, so here's resin. Like this isn't going anywhere. A lot of the things, like common things that you might see that are resin, think of like your lawn statues, like things that you buy at Walmart, little gnomes and things like that.
Yeah.
Chances are those are resin. So if you drop them, they may crack and you'll see like exposed white resin underneath.
Yeah, right.
They're not designed to last forever. These, I mean, if you're sitting them on a shelf, unless somebody comes by and knocks it over, nothing's going to happen to this. Like I can beat the hell out of this, and I'd really have to work to break this, but it doesn't. There's not any give to it, and this is hollow, so it's not a solid piece. This one, on the other hand, if I were to really work at this, I could probably, but then I would ask, why are we doing that first?
Why are you doing that? There is different filament strengths too, right? You have the
There is, yeah, and that's another thing to consider. So if you want to go like super strong, like if you want to get that ABS type material and print with it, you may need to modify your machine in order to get up to a higher temperature.
Yeah, which brings me to another question that we skipped. I wanted to cover this one. Sorry, Dean. The maintenance cost, because I know, and the only reason that one strikes me is because I think I mentioned to you, Josh, the buddy that I have at work. I have seen him replace the one that we use at work. I have seen him replace the heating element, the filter that comes down. I mean, he's probably almost, with what he's replaced over the 2 years, probably could have bought another one. Is that,
and that's what
issue?
I got to with mine. So
Okay.
that I told you I started off, my first machine to get me into 3D printing was a Creality CR10. A good unit to start with because it forced me to have to learn how to fix it quite a bit. So a lot of things would go wrong with it. And I choose not to look at those things as negatives. I choose to look at those things as learning experiences, and everything that I did, all the pain and the anguish that I suffered, taught me a lesson that I learned from and got me to where I am today.
Right. It's almost like it's part of the process, because like you said, you don't just jump into it. You have to learn some of this stuff. It's not like there's a step-by-step instructions, for how to begin from the beginning.
If you're the type of person that experiences failure and you just like, to hell with it, I'm done, don't get into 3D printing.
Right.
But if you start to see the potential in what you're doing, like for me, like with that Santa Claus model, that was the first thing where I was really working on it, and it stopped being a piece of plastic at some moment, and it was like life got breathed into it. And I was no longer looking at an inanimate object. I was looking at a piece of art that was staring back at me. And like, that was just the moment when everything clicked for me. And that was the moment where I'm like, my God, this is awesome, but I still see these layer lines. Maybe I need to look into getting a resin printer.
But that's a good hobby to get into. The quality and the figures that you can make are very impressive.
And if you're interested in getting into 3D printing, if you're kind of on the outskirts and like, I'm not sure if I want to get into this yet, what I would suggest you do, anybody who's out there that is looking for a good side hustle, if you can teach yourself how to create objects in a 3D environment, do sculptures. If you're the type of person that loves creating your own toys, if you take out your air dry clay, if you go to Hobby Lobby and you buy yourself a giant box of something for $10,
I wonder who did that.
maybe consider looking into teaching yourself how to do 3D modeling and working on creating things in that environment. Because what people do is they sign up and they do Patreons and they sell those models. So that is a passive income that you can have. If you have a good model that people are wanting, you can sell that model. You can have yourself something that sits on a website and just constantly brings in money for you over the course of time that you did it once, and it's always going to be there and you're always going to be making money off it. They do Patreons. There's a guy named Photosmint. He got into 3D modeling 3 years ago, and he's one of the biggest names. That's who did the Hulk bust, who's done a number of, he did that Captain America bust, a lot of the stuff that I do. And I pay that guy $5 a month, and he sends me 3 models every month.
Wow.
That's
Best
so
$5
great, yeah.
I spend.
Yeah.
So John's got a question here. He's, as we've all said, you do some awesome printings and awesome paintings of them. Are you doing it for just fun, or are you planning on selling those?
So my goal with my 3D printing is things go south in my professional life at some point. I'm not going to be looking to get into another job right away. I will probably look to see if I can bet on myself and really double down and get into some of the printing and the selling of the items and selling my painted work, things like that. My long-term goal is going to be to do something that I love doing each and every day to make money and not have to worry about having a boss. Yeah. This is something that can allow you to do that. And it still sticks with dealing with all my geeky elements,
right?
Dealing with things that I love. And if you do things you love, you never work a day in your life.
Josh, let's be honest. You're married. You're always going to have a boss.
But she's happy with it, man. So, hey, as opposed to me being out at the bar watching March Madness on a weekend, if I'm in the basement working on a 3D printed project, hey, she'll be all about that. That's not to say anything's wrong happening out at March Madness, but at the same time.
I have a couple of questions, but Left Coast, what are the rules?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's cool. We want to read it?
Yep. What are the rules when I see dudes buying artists' sculpts and then selling them on Etsy?
Yeah.
I would think that's not allowed. Is it?
So, yeah, you absolutely should not be selling prints. So the people who are finding objects that were free models on Thingiverse and they're turning around and selling them, those people should be strung up and quartered. That's not cool. But the Patreon, a lot of the artists who are on Patreon, they will provide options to where you can pay a little bit extra and they will give you the right to sell their products. So you can print them out and you can turn around and sell them.
But they're still getting compensation from you.
They're getting compensated for it. And if you're good at what you do and you can churn out a bunch of models and you're making decent money off of it. I mean, something like this only cost me probably $2-3 to print. But if I wanted to sell it, I could probably sell that for something in the neighborhood of like $10. And I've already done the work to it. So it's pretty much done. If somebody wanted to buy that, it's a good sculpt on it. But if you wanted to get into something bigger, when you start getting into FDM, if you go big size, there's really no limit on what you can make or produce for people.
Let me say hi to a few people that popped in. So this is my buddy Victor Diaz from my gym. Loving the show. Morning, Vic. Tor.
Enjoy your protein shake this morning, Victor.
And Michael Reed had a question about.
He had about the computers, I think. Right?
Yeah. Is it important to have a good computer?
Him and John actually asked that.
So in terms of having a good computer, the computer that I have is an old Acer. It's probably about 4 or 5 years at this point. It's not the greatest model on the planet. What you run into as far as the software that you need on your computer itself is only going to be when you are rendering and slicing the object. So if you run into a situation where you're having difficulty operating that software, then yes, you may need to look at updating your computer. But the one that I'm on, if I'm able to get the job done with what I have currently, this was a $400 Amazon computer. So it's nothing spectacular.
So it's more about the software translating it to the file that you put into the printer, right?
So you're gonna bring the 3D object into your software program, and depending on FDM or Resin, each of them have separate software programs because they have to slice them differently. But once you get your 3D object on your build plate, then it's a matter of just manipulating it, finding the best orientation, the best scale. You can make all your changes as far as size. If you need to be concerned about anything like those supports, you may need to add additional supports. With Resin, I would encourage you when you're first starting off, look for artists who offer pre-supported Resin models, because placing supports on Resin prints is a pain in the ass. There's no easy way around it. It's a very tedious process. Resin is expensive, and you fail a lot when it comes to Resin. Let me step away for real quick, and I'll show you.
While Josh is away, I'm gonna just so Left Coast, Weird Science is Real. Can you print Kelly LeBrock next? So if you missed at the beginning of this stream, Josh and Dandy, Cap Cave and Dandy 1981, actually, they make a Kelly LeBrock. So if you missed it, go back and check that out later.
Kelly Ledeen.
Kelly Ledeen.
So some of the issues, like I'm a big believer. I want to show you problems that you run into.
Let me
so
pull you up big.
Chewbacca looks great, but Chewbacca also had some separation on his layer line. So this is not an inexpensive mistake, and it's what 95% perfect, and then you have that one little thing that can screw it all up, right?
So can you
So
fill
depending,
that?
what's that?
Could you fill it?
I mean, you could, but I wouldn't be able to sell that. I wouldn't feel comfortable selling
Yeah.
that to somebody.
Yeah, true.
You know, so what am I going to do with it? So I don't have the heart to get rid of him, so I'm waiting to maybe like try to put him like on a cane or
Have
a
him battle
walking
like
stick or
a
something.
Boba Fett. So Boba Fett's trying to like take his Wookiee
Yeah.
braids.
Exactly. But then here's another one, like supports fail in the back, and you get exposed interiors there. Just little things. If you look right here, this is incomplete.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still a good piece, but you can't use it. So
Yeah.
Giveaways.
painful. Yeah.
On Cap K's channel, giveaways, epic fails on 3D printing.
Big fan.
We're gonna have the wheel, and you can win.
I
this.
don't want it, so take my useless stuff.
I think Cap's channel is in the description,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Cap's channel. See, I don't know how to do just the channel, so I did one of his latest videos.
Oh.
I don't know if that is the same thing, but yeah.
Appreciate
So you can definitely subscribe. And let me tell you, this guy has an amazing channel. He does a great job, very professional. Unlike actually, this stream's been pretty good, but because Cap's been running the show most of it,
No.
so his videos are amazing. Did you say that you had a Wolfman video? Because I tried to find it. I couldn't find the Wolfman video.
I haven't made the Wolfman video just yet. I did write it as part of my. I'm a staff writer over at Biff Bam Pop. So if anybody is ever interested in some Figure Friday columns, my partner E.A. Henson and I, we post every Friday over on Biff Bam Pop. And I did the Wolfman and Symbiote Spider-Man this week. It was a noir edition, a black and white edition of Figure Friday.
Cool.
So I sang the praises of both of those figures, and I will be doing a complimentary video to go along with that article this week. So
I'll definitely have to watch that. So thank you, Cap. That was very informative.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So what will it take to get the skull for my Ewok?
Don't do this right now, Dino. Come on now. Don't
Right
give me what
here,
will it
boom.
take.
Is that possible to make that?
I've been waiting for you to send me the file that you found.
So that could be made, right? That skull, huh?
Yeah, we can print that.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
You said you found the file already.
I did find the file, yeah.
So I was waiting for you to send me some dimensions, and then we could get that on the printer. I even have,
I will send you the top of it.
This is design white. So
that's so cool, man.
We can get you some design white. You can put a little wash on it, whatever you want to do to make it look like the original Kenner.
I love it.
Good luck sleeping.
Printing, 3D printing is a art.
If you're looking at an Ender, I would suggest looking at a Neptune 2S by Lagoon. Right around the same price, same type of model, but they've also put in some nice upgrades, especially the flexible build plate. If you are just getting into 3D printing, you will understand how excellent a flexible build plate is the first time you have to try to pry a model off of your build plate.
You make it look easy, though, man. That video was great.
Yeah,
so thank you. Thanks,
seamless.
Josh.
No problem.
So I think we'll slide over to the fitness aspect, because it's running a little late. We don't want to cross some other streams that are popping up soon. So we'll have a few more moments. And I know Dan's been working on fitness part of this show. Dan, you have a video to share?
I do. Let me get that ready for you here. Not my best work.
He's going to share a video. So here we go.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, doke. Hopefully you can. Can you hear that?
No.
How about now?
No.
Mm-mm. Not yet.
You can't hear it at all?
No.
All right. Well, basically, I'm just going to give you a visual then. And I
Visual.
don't know why it's going so slow, but
Commentary. Yeah, it has. I think Josh's video was running a little slow, so maybe the video sharing.
oh, I thought that was okay. I thought he was speeding it up or something like that.
It could have been. Maybe I'm wrong. So I'll talk through it.
All right.
So this is
this is me
Dandy
just
explaining.
standing
Here
around.
I am down in my basement, and I'm going to be going ahead and picking up some, putting some down some things, and I'm
love
going to
it.
do it in front of my Hasbro Marvel Legends display, and everybody is going to be jealous of both my big muscles and my excellent figures that I have in my background.
It's my motivation. I love it. It's exactly. So I basically I was just saying that.
Whoa!
What the heck happened there?
What just happened?
He's
So
jumping
basically, I
on
was
weights.
saying that my thanks to you and your inspiration, when I'd asked you what you did, you kind of described a circuit workout where you were doing some light dumbbell work, some body weight movements, and you were doing them in sequence, right? Did
Very
I get
much
that
so.
right?
Yes.
So that's kind of what Josh was doing. So we asked him, how he had taken his journey and got so great of results, and it was because he found something that he could do and he would stick with, and that's basically the key point. We're just trying to give you a bunch of different ideas. What I said at the beginning was Dean and I have shown you a lot of stuff that's pretty intense, some crazy cardio, some work at the gym. But this is just a couple of moves that are combination moves that you can do like 10 reps of or something like that, or even 5 to 10 if you want. And you don't even have to do these with the dumbbells. What I'm going to do is basically a squat, turn it into a curl, and then a shoulder press. I'm going to repeat that several times, which actually works out better because I noticed some things that I could touch on while we're watching this here. But just keep in mind the form, and of course, you can always modify these exercises. Like Dino has a few episodes back, he showed you a modified kind of lunge or squat move where you're supporting yourself. So it doesn't necessarily have to be freestanding like what I'm doing here. You can modify just about any of these. And like I said, I've got 10 pounds. So I'm doing 10 reps of this whole set, right? And then I'm going to stop and then take like a 30, 45, or 60-second break. And then I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do that about 5 times. And it might not seem like much, but when you've got that little bit of resistance, you're building muscle, you're burning calories, and it's a great workout. So thanks again, Josh, for the inspiration.
For sure, man.
Awesome.
And hey, if you're just starting off and it's a matter of I can't do the weights yet, resistance bands are excellent to just get you moving and starting to make you feel a little bit of resistance on your movements. So the next movement is the best movement you can make.
So Josh, Cap Cave, just
Lefko says you can just 3D print the muscles once he gets his 3D printer.
Indeed.
That'll
so
work.
I look
you
forward
are
to it,
doing.
Rick.
How many days a week are you working on?
Great. Fabulous has been doing the chair squats you demonstrated, Dean.
So I've been working out, and I'm going on my 3rd week where I've really started getting back into it. So I had a while back, 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with diabetes, and I wasn't happy with being diagnosed with diabetes, but I wasn't surprised at the diagnosis. I think that anybody who carries around more weight than they probably should is waiting for that inevitable news to hit them. When that hit me, I went in and I think they expected me to just crumble up and die in the corner, take the news like it was the end of my life. But instead, I just walked out of there and I changed my diet. I got rid of just about all the carbs that I could think of, stopped eating pastas, breads, pizzas. I switched over to a heavy cauliflower diet. So cauliflower rice, cauliflower crust pizzas.
Yes.
You find the things that you enjoy within a new diet and you really lean into those. I'm a creature of habit, so that works for me.
Yeah,
Then I started cutting out all of my sugars, looking at my labels, really paying attention to added sugars as opposed to just naturally happening sugars. So I was able to go from being on metformin for 6 months to when I went back for my follow-up checkup, I no longer had an A1C that was diabetic levels. So
that is
for me,
awesome.
for the longest time, that was what I was doing. And I was happy and I was content. And my goal was just when I go on vacation, I want to be able to eat what I want. But I was still a little doughy and I wasn't feeling great about who I was. And I just kept saying to myself, if I could just lose another 10 pounds or get myself feeling a little bit better, I'd be happy. So what I decided to do is through my insurance, they offered this program called Hinge Health. They send me a little tablet and they put exercises on this tablet for me. So every day I can go in and they give me a playlist and I just go through and I do the different exercises that are in the playlist. And these are really, really super easy. A lot of them are mostly stretches. It's like physical therapy type exercises.
Yep.
So I started off doing this and I felt really good about it. And I was getting some good positive momentum. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm constantly saying I don't have enough time in my day to get the workout in that I'd like to. So I forced myself to start getting up at 6:30 in the morning. And I'm doing that now 6 days a week. I get up and I hit the treadmill. So I put in a mile on the treadmill. I've got asthma. Again, I'm not like a sprinter. I'm not a natural athlete, anything like that. So I'll do like 3 miles per hour for a quarter of the lap around the treadmill. And then I'll jack it up to 4 for 3/4 of it. And I'll drop it back down to 3 so I can catch my breath and then get after it. That first quarter mile is always a bitch. It's always a pain in the ass.
It is. I used to do the stair stepper and the same thing. The first like 6 minutes on a stair stepper, I didn't think I could do it, but I would do it for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you can break through that wall, it's
100%.
Do you watch TV or Netflix while you're doing it to take your mind off of what you're doing?
For me, what speaks to me most, what motivates me is a good playlist. So I've got a good 5K playlist. I'll share that on Twitter if anybody wants it. It's music that speaks to me. So I've got a little bit of a mix as far as like stuff where I can feel it that's going to inspire me, stuff that has a good pace for when I just need to catch my breath, and then stuff when it's time to kick it in the ass a little bit. It's going to, crank you up and get you motivated. And the thing that I have found with a good playlist like that is when your mind is sitting here, to hell with this, let's go back to bed. The next song kicks in and it might be something that gives you just enough strength to keep going. So that's really what it is. When you start telling yourself, I can't do any more of this, just keep doing it for as long as you can. Go back, catch your breath, give yourself a little bit of a breather, and then get back to it and do that next set. And before you know it, it used to take me, like, I didn't think that it would take me probably an hour to do a mile, just going out and walking a mile, because that's who I was. Now I can go out and I can bang out a mile in like 20 minutes. And look, people are running 4-minute miles. So 20 minutes isn't anything to brag about, but I can get a 20-minute mile in the morning. I can go and I can do 2 sets of my Hinge Health exercises and do a little bit of weight training. It takes me about an hour of my day. I always made the excuse I don't have the time to do it, so I forced myself to get up at 6:30 in the morning, and I made the time. I look at it. I look at it from this standpoint. We're all collectors. We all go into Walmart. We all go into Target, and we bitch and we complain. Look at what a mess this toy aisle is. It's disgusting. These people don't take any pride in it. If I worked in this store, like, I'd come in here and I'd try to organize it and make it look presentable, and yet I'd walk out and I'd catch a reflection of myself in a store window. I'd be like, man, you are carrying around way too much weight, that you should take pride in yourself and you should really try to work on yourself and improve yourself. So those are the things that I have control over. So once I recognize that about myself, it's like, let's just clear out the excuses. And if you really look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day, you know who you have to blame for the situation that you're in. And it's a matter of how you choose to deal with that. And fortunately for me, I was in a situation in my life where I fight depression. I'm a big proponent of men's mental health and being able to talk about your feelings and your emotions and everything that you're going through. I fight depression constantly. Growing up as a fat kid, I was picked on and bullied quite a bit. My family literally moved 20 miles away to get me out of a bad situation. And they basically just kind of enabled me to continue to eat the way that I wanted and turn my body into something that I wasn't happy seeing. It took a diabetes diagnosis to kick me in my ass and get me to where I needed to be. But I've lost 100 pounds now. I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm happy with the work that I'm putting in. I think that if everybody tries to take little tiny steps to get them to where they want to be, you all have the power to do it. It's just a matter of figuring that out with yourself and what are the things that you need to do. What are the sacrifices that you need to make? Guys, I got a bar in my basement. I had a kegerator. It wasn't anything uncommon for me to go over and crush a keg of beer over the course of 3 weeks. Just me crushing a keg of beer. Like that's I can't picture doing that. But I put in the work and I put in my sacrifices now. So when I go on vacation, I can eat whatever the hell I want and not feel guilty about it.
Right.
That's my ultimate goal.
It's not a diet, I call it. It's a life change. And then
It is.
when you do the life change, and then but it doesn't mean you never can eat ice cream again. You can never
100%.
have pizza. It doesn't mean that. It means you just change your lifestyle, and then when it's time, you don't eat something because it's in front of you. You eat it out of, I'm on vacation. I'm gonna let myself have fun these few days. I'm not gonna go crazy, but I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna have a pizza if I want. I'm gonna have some ice cream. So changing your lifestyle on eating and exercising allows you to be able to let loose every now and again. And as far as excuses go, when people, I don't really have time to work out every day. I don't have time. Josh doesn't have time. Danny doesn't have time. But we created time. So instead of sleeping till 7 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock in the morning, I'll get up at 5:30, and I created an extra hour and a half through the day. Now that I use that time for workout, it's Dino time.
And guys who are carrying around that extra weight, if you're sitting here saying, like, because this is who I was, I would wake up and the first thing I thought about was going back to bed that night. I just wanted to fast forward through my day.
Wow.
And I wanted to get to where I could go back to bed and not have to deal with things, right? And think about it. Like, there's things in your life that you love. I love 3D printing. I love my toys. I love my family. I love my wife. I love, being out and hanging out with you guys. I was willing to sacrifice all of that just because I didn't feel like doing anything that day. And I just wanted to get to the end of the day and go back to bed. You're willing to sacrifice all of those things that you love. And at that point, what are we doing? We're not even living anymore.
Yeah.
So if you are carrying around that extra weight, seriously, I wear a CPAP machine. If you guys haven't had a sleep study done, go out and get yourself a sleep study done. If you have to wear that CPAP machine, you might feel uncomfortable. You might think you look like a fool. But when you wake up that first time after getting a good night's sleep with a CPAP machine, you will have so much energy. You will feel so much better that you will start to see, wait a second, it wasn't the fact that I was just overweight and not feeling good about myself. I was also having problems because I wasn't getting a good night's sleep. And once you start getting a good night's sleep, you'll start to find that extra energy that you constantly felt lacking.
And also diet has a lot to do with energy, whether if you're eating healthier and more sensible, and your calorie count is added up for the day, what you're supposed to be taking in, not eating pizzas and all these extra heavy weight, which slows you down physically, mentally, and everything else. So if you change your diet plan, that can change your energy and just the way you look at life, and you can enjoy everything that's going on here instead of slugging around through the day.
Take one little step. Find one food item that you can swap out with a healthy alternative.
Yeah.
Walmart sells these cauliflower crusts. They're just the crusts for pizzas. They sell them in 2-packs in the frozen food sections. They're called All About That Base, and it's just a cauliflower crust. It reminds me of an old Totino's pizza, but it's just the crust. You can put whatever sauce on it, whatever cheese you want on it, whatever toppings you want on it. I would encourage everybody, try that the next time you're out doing a figure hunt. Grab one of those pizzas, take it back and make it for yourself. Put something good on it. Make it the pizza that you would like to eat if you ordered out pizza that night, and try it. And I can almost guarantee you, I was always a deep dish guy. but a thin crust cauliflower crust pizza is such a much better, healthier option, and you'll feel better, and you will start to see results over the course of time, where if you're not ordering the pizza every weekend and you just simply have one of these instead, it's a no-brainer. It tastes delicious, and I never feel like I'm missing out on pizza.
Well said, Josh.
Good job.
So I want to thank, and we'll end it at this. I think that was a great ending. Great show. Thank you, Kat, for coming. And if you're not subscribed to Kat, go to the link in this description, and you can sign up for Kat. And also, we have a giveaway still going on for the C3PO animated. Next week, we will be doing the giveaway for that vintage collection animated C3PO. We'll be doing it on Sunday, 9:30. We'll do a duck race. So this is the last chance to enter. The link to 2 of those videos is in the description also. And yeah, with that being said, we just got a couple things to say. Remember, we are all Geek Strong. And remember, if you hear that knock on the door, it might not always be UPS, FedEx, whatever. It might be that Don Landshark.
Okay.
Take care, guys. Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, everybody.